We have a very good initiative from the French and the German governments that has been very well received by markets. The reaction in terms of narrowing of spreads was quite clear. And I hope that this will be the starting point. And on top of that, the European Commission will have to put forward its plans in order to continue with the recovery of the euro area. So, all in all, when you put together, our monetary response, and afterwards, the national authorities' response in terms of fiscal policy, plus what we expect that it will be, a powerful pan-European response, I think that you have a package that will be able to cope with the crisis that we are suffering now.
Let me bring you back to the financial risk from the elevated debt levels, because you're saying that also in your report that, of course, debt levels will go very high, especially in countries which are deemed to be in a critical state already, like Italy, for example. So how much is there an increased risk then that, for example, one country could crash out of the Eurozone if they can't reduce debt levels ultimately?
Well, I would not put it that way. I think that, prior to the Corona crisis, there were countries with high public debt levels. But I think that the important issue to take into consideration, we have to put in perspective, the policy response. Fiscal policy is going to be key, is going to be crucial. And, in the short term, during the pandemics, during the crisis that we are suffering, I think that national fiscal policy is going to be totally needed. And, this fiscal policy, for sure, is going to be, one of the main pillars of the response, plus monetary policy, plus the pan-European fiscal policy. And afterwards, at the end of the pandemic, for sure that we will have a higher public debt ratio. But the alternative of doing nothing is much worse. It would be much worse in terms of the crisis, and it would be much worse in terms of the recovery phase. So the only alternative is to have a fiscal response. For sure that we will have a legacy, that is a higher public debt ratio. And, these concerns about public finances in the medium term will have to be addressed. But now, what we have to do is to have a powerful and a strong fiscal response, both from both the national authorities and the pan-European at that pan-European level.
With the elevated debt levels, that most likely will also mean that we get that lower for longer monetary policy stance for even longer for lower. What's your idea behind?
No, I think that fiscal policy is not going to determine the bias of our monetary policy at all. Our monetary policy will be channeled towards our main objective, that is price stability. We take into consideration other elements, other important economic policies, and fiscal policy is an important policy. But I would not say that at all that fiscal policy or higher debt levels are going to to determine our monetary policy at all.